Okay, first things first, I'm an idiot. I messaged my wife when I was pulling out of the car park, basically to say, actually when I was heading up the street, to say heading back. And she rang me, told her we had the paper bags, that was good. She goes, oh cool, they remembered. And then I told her how there was the mix up with the cold stuff, how we got some stuff that belonged to somebody else, sausages, meat, milk. And she goes, so did we get everything? And I said, yeah, pretty sure. And then she said something and I went, hang on. And I pulled over and started going through the list, which I should have done. I had the app with everything in our order. Started going through, checking all the bags, and sure enough, we were missing what amounted to 2 bags. A bag that had pears and avocados in, and a bag that had some more of our cold stuff like tempeh and vegan sausages, some vegan cheese, and our margarine. Drove back up here, did another double check in here when I got here, just made sure everything was there. Went up there, the service counter manager went out the back and came back, and sure enough, there's the 2 paper bags with the stuff in it, and it had a sticker with just our surname on it, but not the other sticker which was on the other trolley that had full order number and details on it. So glad my wife rang me, because I would have got back to the house and realised I didn't have all that stuff. I always check off the orders at home and there's usually something missing, or we've had quite a few orders that have been fine, no problem. But every now and then you get an order that's stuffed up, and after the last one, I'll give her a call now, let her know that everything's all right. We've got everything now. And now I'm heading back to the house. I think she rang me because it was so much earlier than anticipated, because everything was like a pretty good run. Anyway. Well, it's unfortunate that we have to wear masks. It's reassuring that people are. The rules that they've put on us for Greater Sydney, which the Blue Mountains is considered part of, is that you need to wear a mask while you're out in public, basically, outdoors and indoors. The only variation to that, technically, is when you're exercising, because you don't want people huffing and puffing inside a mask. But so I think some people go out for walks and they say, well, I'm exercising while I walk, so I don't need to wear a mask. But in the store, I saw one guy marching straight through the store without his mask on. He had it in his pocket. You could see it sticking up out of his pocket. I don't understand that. And then I saw 2 other people at different times, because I was in there several times. One lady sort of standing in line, and she was wearing a medical mask and it had gone below her nose. And then another guy later on, same thing, wearing a medical mask, those blue ones. And he was in the self-checkout, and he's standing there and the mask was under his nose. I think sometimes if people are talking, those will move down. They won't if you're wearing them properly and got them adjusted properly. It's concerning that I saw people with kids and the kids weren't wearing masks, especially because Delta variant is the one that's spreading amongst kids, which is why schools are being kept closed. Starting from Monday, like we've got 1 week left of school, from Monday, there's some schools in regional New South Wales that have been allowed to open under level 3 restrictions, which means you still need to wear masks indoors and outdoors. Cohort mixing is not supposed to happen, can't have assemblies, blah, 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 but they're opening up for the final week of school. Our school is still under level 4+, which means no school for you. They did announce that the final day of this term is going to still officially be the final day for the Year 12 students to be at school. And in the past, in a normal year, they would graduate and have their final thing in this last week. When we come back for term 4, the first week of term, they don't have to be at school, but it's known as SUV2021, or used to be known as SUV2021. And Year 12 students could come in to get last minute assistance by their teachers. So they'd come in when they'd either have class or whenever, so they could get last minute study tips, hints, whatever in that final week, preparation for exams. And then their exams would start in week 2. The way it is this year, this is their official last week. The exams don't start until November 9, which is week 6 of term. In the 2 weeks before that, they're allowed to come into school to get assistance. Year 11 will come back to school the 1 week before the exams. 7 to 10 will come back on the week of the exams. Exams start on Tuesday. Year 11 officially become year 12 from day 1 of term 4. And they've been told they need to make sure that they're logging on because it's the start of the HSC course that they're coming in. So fingers crossed we'll have a bit better attendance from some of the kids. We'll get our brand new courses off to a really good start. Assessment schedules that we had to put in for the year 12s, we had to really adjust those, and I adjusted mine twice after doing it once based on last year's. I then thought about it again, and I'd also got an email from the deputies and said, is that enough time? How much practice in that unit? And I looked at it and I went, yeah, there's only a couple of crack parts, and if we got all of the theory stuff done beforehand in these lead-up weeks, and we just went through prac, and it'd probably work. But I went back in and adjusted it and moved the due date for the prac and everything a little bit further away. Well, I've got Batman a new ball, and he's going absolutely nuts over it. He's been going up and down this hill so many times he just can't stop, even though he looks like he's getting exhausted. That's why he's all excited it squeaks. I started weed whacking because I can't say mowing, I don't have a mower. Started doing the backyard today, and you see where I sort of got to. I ran out of fuel just here, and there's something wrong with my weed whacker in that it just, if it runs out of fuel, it doesn't want a hot start, it won't start. So I've refueled it and I've tried letting it cool down. It's starting for a little bit and then not running, so I'm just going to have to leave it because I wanted to do this morning, go work on uni. So I'm going to go work on uni after I've had a little break, and come back out later to do the rest of this. I did the front yard yesterday, arvo, and I'm trying to trim back some of the stuff along the fence as well, where all the flowers are starting to come into bloom because they're just not good for allergies, especially my wife's allergies. I started trying to clip some back with clippers while waiting for the weed whacker to cool down. I can only reach so high with clippers. I can reach a little bit higher with the whippersnipper. Anyway, get to it later. Yes, that's a familiar shot. And I know I said I was going to go and do uni work. I went to the laundry to get ready to come upstairs, and my wife calls down to the phone and goes, "Sounds like the weed whacker was taking a dump." I said, "Yeah, it doesn't like starting hot again. So I'm going to work on uni and then go back to that in the afternoon." And she said, "Well, Johnson, It's meant to rain tomorrow. Might be nice if you take the boys out so they don't miss out, and then just go back and do uni as soon as we get back. So it's only early-ish. It's just after 11, I think. So we're back at the house around midday. Get on with uni work, and then I can do the rest of the yard in the afternoon like I did yesterday, which I started that around not just before 5 because it is getting dark a little later. As long as I can get the rest of the grass cut down for these two, I can work on the shrubs and stuff later. It's quite warm out. Nice breeze, but the breeze isn't cold. It just takes the edge off the warmth in the sun. You need to get back into your pen. So I got the yard done, ground. You can also see that I kind of hedge trimmed down the fence line as high as I could get with the whippersnipper. I still need to do this side, see if I can clear that out. I've really got to do something with this. It just keeps growing back. I need to rip out all the root system and the rhizomes and whatever it is that's under the ground. It's kind of like the agapanthus. It just spreads. There's some further down as well. Still didn't get that tree moved. Damn it. And it's an 80% chance of rain tomorrow. So I'm glad I got the grass done at least.